Good morning, everybody. First of all, thank you for joining this morning's webinar for the user awareness training from Webroot. We're going to be looking today at the high user costs and errors and what that kind of cost to your business is. With 93% of phishing emails today resulting in ransomware, your clients aren't going to be able to afford to educate the users on these risks. And this is where Webroot user awareness training comes in. We're going to showcase the product today, show you simulations of what the product can do. We're going to do a video demonstration, and at the end we're going to have any questions which you can fill in at the bottom of the box, which we're going to answer. On the call we've got myself, I'm pre-sales here at CMS Distribution, and we've got Sinead from Webroot, who's pre-sales, who's going to be going over the demo and the demonstration today. I'm going to pass over to Sinead now to go over the product, and as I said, any questions just feel free to ask along the way, and we'll answer them all at the end.
Hi everybody, and thank you for coming today. So as John said, my name is Sinead Grant. I'm a pre-sales engineer with Webroot. What you're going to see on my screen there now, we're kind of diving right in and going through the product as a whole, is what we have right now, how it works, and kind of what benefit that's going to bring to you and your customers or your end users, depending on what area of the business you are coming from. So a lot of you will already be familiar with our management console. It's our global site management console. And the idea is you need to have this console in order to use our security awareness training. Typically what will happen is you'll have our global site management console, you'll have logged in, you will ask if you're interested in looking at the solution. Like all of our products, you can get a 30-day trial. And what will happen there is you'll provide your parent key code, and your account manager will be able to enable your particular key code for security awareness training. What will happen then is you'll notice a new tab appear on the far right. Now you'll notice that we have an additional tab there as well. So if you're not familiar, what we've brought about in the last couple of months is a kind of suite of products, right? You're all familiar with our endpoint protection, which is our antivirus solution. And what we've brought about now is our DNS protection, covering users from a network level. We've got our antivirus covering users at that endpoint level. And now we've got our security awareness training covering users at the user level. And we really feel that brings about a full circle of security for all of our customers. So with the security awareness training, what we're trying to bring about is not a fear for end users, but really, the name is in it, awareness, okay? So that they're always, I suppose, up to date with what they're looking at when they receive emails, what they're clicking on. They're not just blindly opening things. And when we go through the demo now, you'll kind of see where this all comes from, and again, there's a whole kind of reporting element so that you can actually manage your users' experience and what results they're giving you. So like all of our solutions here, you've got each individual site. And so the idea here is that you'll be able to enable the security awareness training for each site. During a trial, you can enable it for as many sites as you like. The difference with a trial is you can only import a maximum of 50 targets. You'll understand that now when I go through it. It's basically 50 users. And the other differentiator there is the training modules that we offer. You can only do one training module. When you purchase, it opens up to have access to all of our training options. So if we go down here, I've got a nice one here that has some good information. So if we go to manage, you'll now see there's a security awareness training tab. So what will be here is you'll simply come in here, tick the box and save changes. This will indicate 0 when you start off because you haven't imported any target users. That number goes up as you import more and more targets. So if we select to go to our security awareness console, this brings you into a whole new look and feel to a console. So the first thing when you're setting up a trial is you're going to want to go into your settings section here, and you're going to want to verify your domain. So we go in here. Verifying the domain confirms that you're not just going to be sending out phishing emails to anybody. The idea is that you're sending a verification email, and a user on that domain clicks on it, verifies it, authenticates that yes, they are willing to participate in this module. And so the idea then is it will come back as green once it's been verified. If it has not been verified, it will remain red, and you will not be able to import users from this domain if it has not been verified. Okay, that's what you'll find. The other thing to be familiar with there is we've got our domain option, our verification of the domain, but under the support section and our user guides, very important is because a lot of people now are going to have spam filters in place. And so once we go to this user guide section here, we've got our admin guide here under security awareness training. If you have a spam filter in place, so be it through Office 365 or any other third-party filtering system, you are going to want to whitelist our IP address. So as you can see there within the table of contents, there's lots of different options for different elements that you will whitelist under different sections. So we've got our IP address here. We've also got a mail server, and then the query here on the domain set that you use. That's I'll show you that within the management console, but that means the domains that are you've got a list of options that you can choose from which email domains the emails will come from. And those are very important because if you don't enter those, it can get blocked at the spam filter level, and the user will not receive the email. So that means that you're not going to get the reporting information and the whole idea of the product, and you can't utilize it. So once you've put those in place, you'll find that the emails come through without any issues. If we jump back to the settings section, so that's the domain verification and whitelisting IP address on that. So those are the two main kind of requirements for you in order to utilize the product. Thereafter, so from this settings section, I like to kind of show users this area here because it's a way for you to have a look at, you've got your email, web, and courseware elements without actually going in through the whole campaign. So this gives you the ability to look through the content first. So if we click in here into the email section, and if you click into system, from within here, you'll see you've got a list of all of the available email templates to you. And so that allows you to go in, have a look, and see what's, so if we click into Amazon gift card, you can see below here, these are all customizable as well, so you can easily edit and change, that to a pound sign, euro sign, things like that. And you can clone these to create your own templates, edit and customize them and save them separately as well. The idea is that we provide you with a good list of templates. There's more templates coming down the line as well. We are looking to increase and expand on these regularly. We've already brought out an additional number of templates there about a month ago, and we've got another set of training videos on the way now, another 10 training videos coming up now in the next couple of weeks as well. So it really is a very fluctuating. It's I suppose the difference here with this type of solution compared to our antivirus or our DNS protection solution is it can be a little bit more fast-paced in the content that we provide to users. So feedback and things like that, that's why we have a separate feedback section here as well. So things that you want to see, where you want to see it expand and grow, those can be easily implemented then within the solution. Another element here is the web. So this is the landing and lure pages. So again, under the system section here, this lists the types of lure pages. So when a user clicks on the email and it, for example, if you wanted to include a link within that email and they click on the link, these are the types of pages that it can go to. So for example, we were at the Amazon section a moment ago, it can bring you through to an Amazon login page. And then last but not least is the courseware. So the courseware here, as you can see, we've got a number of different videos already set up. So understanding malware, we've got social media awareness. So a lot of these can link up to the actual phishing campaigns that you set up. We're going to go through creating a phishing campaign in just a moment. And just to be aware that you can do it in, like all of our products, they're very customizable. The console is very customizable. And so depending on what you want to get from the solution, you can get that. So yeah, you'll find that we can create two different types of campaigns. One is a phishing simulation where they receive an email. The other one is actually a training session. And so what I found already with a lot of our customers, who are eager to kind of get going with this type of product in their environment is they can do it in a couple of different ways. You could have the training session set up as a go-to, for example, when you onboard new employees, that a training session on any of the following videos or all of the following videos can be put in place. So the idea that the new employee has security at the forefront of their mind, that they know that this company has security at the forefront of their mind. And so that is a good way to start off your users. Each of the videos has questions at the end of it. There's just a handful of questions, and then they are graded on these. So you get the reporting information based on how they did in the little exam. Now, all the videos are between 3 to 5 minutes long. We will probably bring a little bit longer videos later down the line, but the idea is that we wanted them to be, nothing too long and excessive, and where users we lose their attention. So we wanted them to be very kind of fast and maybe getting all the information out that we needed to get to the users. Some people also will be able to, so we'll show you when we go through the campaign, but you can actually set that when you send out a phishing campaign, if the user fails at whichever level, then they can actually go straight to a training video and again the exam at the end. So that can be used as maybe an escalation point where you have a group of users, you've tested maybe sales department, finance department, and there's a small group of users from within that department that have continuously failed over a period of time. And those users, then you're going to want to maybe expand and give them a training session immediately after, considering you've kind of escalated to that level. As I said, there's lots of different ways to use the product. When you purchase the product, you're purchasing on a per user basis, right? And so the reason behind that is because you're getting user statistics. So what that a user has has done in the first instance when they've received their first phishing email, and then when you test them maybe 2 months later, 3 months later, you're building up a rapport of that user's experience. If they've gotten better, have they not clicked on as many of the emails going on further down the line, or have they continuously been caught out? So that's the whole idea. That's why it's sold on a per user basis. So if we just jump back into settings one more time, you'll also see there's a target section here. So you can come in here and import your targets here. If you don't want to do that, you can actually do it at the campaign level and import them there separately as well. But importing the targets is fairly simple. You'll simply select import targets. You can do a file upload, and it will give you a CSV template that you can use. So if we open up the phishing template, it requests first name, last name, email address, and then additional tags. The tags can be useful because you can put in different departments, and that way then later when you're selecting different groups of users to run a campaign, you don't have to go individually searching for the individual users. You can do it by the tag, and that way as well, so each user can have multiple tags. So if, for example, it's by department, or you could be doing it by intake, by year, things like that. It really varies. And then you will just simply import them here, and then they load up here. As I mentioned at the very beginning, they will not, the import will not complete if the domain has not been verified. Okay. So if we jump to going to create our campaign. So I mentioned there's a new phishing simulation, we've got a new training session. As we go through them, both have the same layout. They just end a little bit differently. So if we start with the phishing simulation, as this is most commonly used, most popular. So if we're running a test, we save the simulations, that's the first bit done. As you can see, 20% complete. So it actually runs very simply. It's not difficult for you to set up. So we're straight on to the next bit, which is going to be at 40% complete then already. We've done it in a way as well that you can create these campaigns very fast, very efficiently, or you could spend a little bit more time on them. And I'll kind of show you where that comes into now in just a moment. So here you would select which users you're going to select. As I can mentioned there, you can select tags and just go by the tags. Go next. So here As I mentioned, okay, so as you can go through them very fast, very efficiently by selecting choose from templates. Those are all the templates that you have. And as I mentioned as well, you can, if you create one right now and customize it, you can clone it later to be reused later, so that you're not losing all of that content. So as I said, you can come in and spend time here. You could create an email body from scratch. So putting in all of your own logos. Some of the templates actually have the ability, they've got kind of the body, general body, and then you can put in your own company logos and that as well. It has the whole, so as you can see, email domain option here. So this is what's going to show what domain it's coming from. You can also edit the user and the full name there, and what the subject title is going to be. So if we select choose from templates, then you've got your list of options. So I mentioned, obviously, we saw earlier on the Amazon gift card option. As we go down, it allows you to actually click on the redeem gift card, and that brings you, so you could link it straight to the Amazon login page, which can be quite good. You've got, basic templates, as I mentioned, where you can put your own logo and content in there, and your own messaging there. We have a lot of different options, so it comes through from different kind of banking options. We've got Evernote, Event Tickets, Facebook, Gmail. You've got Evernote, Netflix, so different areas depending on, I know the Netflix one we put in because that was actually a legitimate phishing campaign that went out right before we launched this. And so it's good to bring about the kind of options that your users would be familiar with. Not all of them be familiar with receiving them to maybe their personal accounts, their work accounts, but in some cases they do sign up, so you never know. And as well, the big thing as well is that users are familiar with seeing these kind of layouts, right? So they wouldn't think maybe automatically, especially if they're on autopilot, a lot of users. And so that's why as well, timing is very good when you're looking to send these out, picking kind of timeline of when might be the best time to maybe catch your users out. It sounds terrible, but that you want to see this type of results. I mean, and the real life people out there aren't going to be going easy on your end users either. If we come back up here, you've got like new IT policy, password expired. That can definitely come up, right? So if you had gone with the password expired, you put in your company logo, you said, okay, look, you need to reset your password. If we go next. Here is a URL hostname. Okay, so we can have it set to, for example, Office 365 because it's a password reset, and we're going to have it go through to your Office 365 login page afterwards. So you could have HR internal mail. You've got admin alerts. You would think that these are very straightforward. A lot of people will be looking at these the URLs, and sometimes they do, but again, it really depends on what's happening in that moment in time when they're receiving emails. If they're kind of, oh yeah, and they come back to it after, again, you can still get the reporting content regardless of when they click on the emails. If we click on the lower page, what the lower page does, and it's optional, you don't have to enable a lower page, but the lower page is, like I mentioned, it's going to bring you through to for example, Outlook or Office login. Now, there's two options: use a lower page, and we've got use 404 broken link page. By using a broken link page, the idea behind here, and you can see here when I selected this, the education page disappeared. The reason there is that when you use a 404 broken link page, it just means that the user is going to click through to the link and it's just going to show them a broken page. The idea there is if you're doing a couple of test runs and you really don't want this to become known within the company that this is something that you're running, a training, this simulation, users are less likely to discuss it amongst each other. If they clicked on a link and it just went to a broken page, they just might kind of, they'll shove it off as, oh, okay, I couldn't get to that page or whatever. Whereas, they'll talk more about it if they've clicked through to something they're worried and they're saying, oh, I entered my details, or did you see this? So it reduces that talk around the office if you haven't targeted all of your users at the same time. The reason why the education page disappears is because if you're going to a broken link page, you can't send a follow-up page after, right? Because the whole idea is you don't want it to be discussed. If you select to use a lure page, so again, you've got the option to customize and put your own lure page, your own source code content in there. It depends on how much time you have and whether you want to kind of go into that much depth. So the lure page, as said, you've got variety of different login page options here. Wells Fargo is more on the American side, banking element. We've got Google login. So if you were resetting your Gmail, we've got Dropbox, and we've got Office 365. So in this case, we're going to go with Office 365. Okay. And I suppose what you'll find is, so now, end users, they just see Office 365. They see, okay, this all looks very legitimate, and they'll default go to login. What a lot of people, and from a preventative measure, obviously we don't want to prevent them from logging. We want to get the information, but we want to train them into looking out for these things. But a lot of companies now will actually put their own company logos on this backdrop page for their Office 365 logins to prevent fake pages like this coming up to users. So they've trained their users to say, okay, if you're logging into your Office 365 and you don't see your company logo appear or particular imagery that they're used to seeing, then don't log in. So that's something to maybe take away as an option later. And especially if you're already doing that in your company and users that you have fall for this, they're not being very observant. They're not taking in any additional training and classes that you've already had with them. A big part of the solution as well is that a lot of companies will actually have intakes where they bring in companies to do a whole kind of training session, once a year maybe. The difference with this solution is you're buying, as I said, 50 user site, you're buying your 50 licenses. It's a constant, right? It's unlimited, the number of phishing campaigns and training sessions that you can issue once you've bought the license. So it's a constant. You can do this as frequently as you like. And it's all about just training the end user into what they need to look out for, and just knowing, I'm from a security company. We have to be even more vigilant. And, we had training sessions like this, whereby, maybe you get an email about a free lunch, and, people still fall for them, or would have fallen for them a good while ago. But now I find that, especially within our own company, people are questioning even more. So, we might get a lot of legitimate emails in, and straight away, we'll go to the IT, our IT guys, and say, look, I wasn't sure about this. And, they're not angry that you're coming to them, questioning these things there, because realistically, we're helping them in the long run. If we're questioning it now, it means that we're less likely to click on something legitimate when it does come in later. If we go to the education page option here, so if we've chosen an education option, there's a training module, and then there's the infographics. So the custom page, this is a one-page HTML doc. So again, you can customize, create your own. All of this is possible with every single element here. If we select choose from a list of templates, so if we choose one here, 5 ways to avoid a phishing attack. So this is something that could be sent to appear to your end user immediately after they've clicked on the lure email, or immediately after they've opened the main email, just to notify them, to let them know, this is actually a test, and you opened the email, or you tried to click on the link, and this can appear to them. We've got a couple of different options there, but you've got hooked. Some of them could be a little bit, more straight than others. You took the bait, something fishy. So it's really about, again, just give them some good content. You just click on this. We don't, don't worry. We don't want to, put a whole lot of fear in there, but we want them just to have their eyes open. And so it guides them as to, these are things you could have looked out for. Check the URL, check the grammar. If you're not sure, really just delete it. And if you didn't want to just do the HTML page, so a lot of people might start with the one-page doc, and then escalate to the training module that I mentioned earlier on. So you could go straight into selecting a training module to appear to them immediately afterwards, and that's, you've got your list of options there. We even have a GDPR module below here. As I said, we've got another 10 modules that are coming out, I believe, in the next couple of weeks. So this is constantly growing, and we've got another update for the solution as well. So right now you can schedule within 72 hours of when you want the actual campaign. With our next release update, you will actually be able to send on and be able to do it up to a couple of weeks in advance. So you can set everything up at the very beginning and then launch. It will automatically launch later. So that's a nice option. If we then go, if we've selected okay, understanding malware, again, you can put your own kind of background images and logos and that within the training modules as well. So they know it's going to come up with saying, saying that Webroot, is within the videos. The videos, they openly speak to the user as well within the content, and then you can put your own content information there as well. If we go next. So within here, you've got a breakdown now of all of your simulation details, and you've got a list of your targets that you selected, what the phishing email is going to be. So this is what it will appear to the end user, and then the phishing website. So that will indicate the lure page and whichever phishing content that you've selected. Now, up the top here, you've got the option just launch the simulation. But what a lot of people want to do is you can put in so you've got, this is the only verified domain we have, so you can put in a user to send a test one to, or you could just send it, this is my email address because the account I've logged in under, you could just send it to yourself to see, okay, what's the end user going to see. Now, if we click out of it at any time, so if you enter your dashboard or anything like that, it will automatically save that. It won't have launched it, so we'll be able to go back to it now in a second. In your dashboard, you're going to see a breakdown of information in terms of, so these are two campaigns that were launched. This one, as you can see, has a lot more information in terms of user activity. We've got information on, so there's a breakdown. We've got bounce, delivered, training visit, process deferred. There's a breakdown of what all of these mean within the documentation, but typically so it means what somebody clicked on it. If it was delivered, if it was bounced or deferred, that's to do with your email account. So it came in too fast, so it deferred it briefly, and then it would actually bring it through after. Or if it bounced, based on the spam filter, something like that. If it was dropped, somebody actually went through, clicked on it, and then ended up going through to the training visit that occurred. So it gives all that information there, and you can get then, there's training report information here, and you can click on the test simulation. You'll also see along here training hybrid. Hybrid indicates that it was a simulation and a phishing email, but then it'll also include a training session within it. And then obviously you've got your ones that are individual as well. If we click on test simulation here, so this is one of the options there. We have a training session report card. So it breaks down, how many people actually took part in the, got through to the training session. And then it shows you kind of how many attempts. So they actually only got, one question right. The others didn't attempt. As you can see, they're incomplete. They didn't fully complete the actual training. And it gives you then the particular users and information there on the individual users' activity. You've also got the options there to export all of these. Again, the next release is going to enhance upon the reporting element as well. I think you'll be able to actually send it to your, for example, if you're a managed service provider and you're providing this service, you'll be able to actually email directly to, say, the main admin or, CEO or marketing officers, things like that. If we go back into view campaigns, I mentioned, so as you can see, we've done a lot of tests here. If you don't launch it, it just saves in here. So as you can see, it's unlaunched. We just created that there today. So you can come back in here and edit it. It brings us straight back into where we were and where you can go all the way through the simulation again. Below here, it indicates which ones were launched. And as you can see, the icons here will indicate whether it's a phishing, hybrid, or a training session. And then this gives you information here. So as you can see along the top, just a quick idea of any emails that were delivered, were bounced, you know, how many visited the lure page, things like that. And that's really a whole kind of breakdown on how it works. It's very straightforward. Like I said, once you have the verified domain and the whitelist IP address and content, you're pretty much ready to go. I kind of just want to emphasize there again, I suppose, from the training elements, you know, the difference here now, I mentioned we've got some GDPR options now, especially with that coming in now in just a couple of months. These types of solutions are more and more, I suppose, a requirement for end users, right? Because I think there's even an option there. It says, you know, if, for example, your account or your site does become compromised, and obviously you have to notify people now when the GDPR comes into place, then if you have a training session in place or training modules, then you're not that's taken into account in terms of, you know, fines and things like that. The big thing as well is that it's not even the cost, right? Because if you do get actually compromised, you know, it's always happening, especially with finance departments and things like that. You know, false invoices coming through, things that they're familiar with seeing. Again, you're just on autopilot. You know, that's a financial cost to it. But the big thing now, GDPR and you know, is that it's your company name, right? That's what's coming into it now, where you're actually labelled as, you know, you've been breached or you've been compromised, something's happened. So it's all kind of a lot more at the forefront of people's minds now. That's everything from me anyway. John?
Perfect. Thank you very much for that, Sinead. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to type them now in the question box, and we can answer those. If there's something you're interested in, please get in contact with your account manager. As Sinead mentioned, there's a free trial as well, which you can try and run that and have your own simulation package in there, and we can help you with that as well during the trial. And if no one has any questions, thank you very much for attending today's WebEx. Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks, everybody.